Welcome to The Guide at Fish North Georgia. Brought to you by these fine sponsors. Spro, working with America's best anglers to design the world's finest fishing tackle. Nichols Lures, handcrafted to perfection. Georgia Blade, makers of premium fishing lures for over 3 decades and home to the Georgia Jig. Crypto Bass, tournament grade, Georgia made. And be sure to visit fishnorthgeorgia.com. And now here's Charles Ashley Shelnutt.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the Guide at Fish North Georgia. I'm Charles Shelnutt, and I'm coming to you for a fishing report for Lake Lanier. On March 27th, we were out there for a kayak tournament, the Georgia Kayak Fishing League. I had a few afternoons of practice, so I'm going to go over a few things about practice and a few things about tournament as well. And excuse me a little bit in the background noise. I'm out here at soccer practice today with my boy, so I wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I'm going to go over the fishing report while I'm here, and you might see a few people walking by. But just want to give you the heads up on that. But on practice, I had a few hours, a couple afternoons, just to kind of hit the lake and bounce around and practice and test out a few history things and a few, find a few new things as well. So on practice, we had a lot more wind and cloud cover than we actually ended up having on tournament day. The water on the south end, when I put in down there, was a lot cleaner on the first day that I had went out there, and I was able to get them on a jerk bait, but I wasn't catching a lot of fish and only a little bit of quality here and there. So I ended up the next afternoon, I had a couple hours as well. I was out working this way, so I just ended up bringing my kayak with me as I hit a few places and looking at some jobs. So I went out on the north end, up around Little River there, and put in, and the water was a little bit more stained up that way. So I was trying to get on a crankbait bite, and it really didn't show itself for me. I really didn't have much time to devote to it as well, because there was a big storm that came through that I kind of had to wait on to get it on. I'm not much of a fan of lightning. I don't mind rain a bit, but I'm not going to do the lightning. So I went out there and didn't catch anything on the crankbait, didn't get anything on the jerkbait, but it started sprinkling again. So I reached back and grabbed my A-rig and made a few casts, a little bit deeper water. I still consider shallow as far as Lanier, 12 to 14 foot range, and was able to catch a few small fish doing that, but really didn't feel confident about what was going on up that way. And I had a good anticipation or a good thought that it was going to get blown out, because there was a lot of rain that's supposed to be coming in. So I pretty much left there, went to Sardis Creek, put in, went out, tried the jerkbait out that way, caught 1 fish. Really didn't have much activity, no bait. It really wasn't what I was looking for as well. So I ran out of practice time, and I just decided to go with my confidence area of the lake. So I ended up putting in toward the south end of the lake on the west side. And the water temps for the north end and the south end, pretty much everywhere I put in, was hovering around the 60-degree mark. And on tournament day, down on the west-south end part there, the water clarity was about the same as it was in practice. We just had a little bit more dinge coming in from the back of the creek that was kind of working its way through the main part of the creek. But those creeks are so deep, it's kind of hard for the middle part of the creek to get really even much more other than clear. The pollen had stained it up a good bit on top, but I wasn't thinking that was running through the whole water column or nothing. So anyway, I pretty much devoted myself to some points, and I had found some points in practice that were productive, and found some points in past history that have been productive. So I pretty much just bounced around points all day that were about 15 to 20 minutes away from me, away from each other. So I would fish one till I felt like, that they've seen enough, and I would move on to the next. So first thing that morning, I was able to catch it. The jerkbait just wasn't showing itself. And I've been throwing a 3.3 Kitech, and it's no secret that, kind of everybody's been matching a hatch lately. There's been a lot of small bait, and the 3.3 has been catching a lot of fish, striper or bass, and hybrids. I mean, it's just been really dialing in that size. This is a B-Balance head from Fish Head. It's 1/4 ounce. It's a 3.3 Kitech, and it's in electric shad color. It really matches the shad profile and the shad and the herring in that lake. So I threw it and was able to get a few keepers off of it, and I picked up a few throughout the day as well. But every fish I ended up weighing in on tournament day come off the Ned, and it's the 1.5. It's 1/5 of an ounce, so it's not real heavy, but it's heavy enough to fish that 3 foot to 20 foot range. And that's basically what I was fishing, from 2 to 20 foot. And I was getting bites in every column. My biggest fish actually come in 2 foot of water. My second biggest fish actually coming around 15 foot of water. So they were everywhere, and they weren't really completely stacked nowhere. Fish were randomly coming to the bank. But you definitely had a more population of fish out deeper. But those fish that were 20 plus didn't really seem like they wanted to eat. The ones that were feeding were, from that 20 to 0 foot range. So that was pretty much your feeding area, your feeding depths that was going on. So I just went around, bounced around different points, and I picked up 3 on one point. Lost a couple on the first point. I really should have had my limit in the first 40 minutes. But I ended up getting my limit still pretty quickly. When I went to the other point over there, I was able to fill my limit and catch a good kicker fish. And then after I felt that, that I have hit that point enough and they didn't want to see no more baits, I kind of moved off to another point and finally worked my way to a bay and fished another point back that way, and ended up catching 2 more fish, and one of them was like a 19-inch spot that ended up being my biggest fish of the day, and it come on the Ned as well, and it was in like 2 foot of water right up on top of the point. So kept fishing the points. The points seemed to slow down around 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I bounced around to a couple more, and it just wasn't happening. I even went back to one of them, and I did get one more bite, and I lost one. And I actually had another bite, and it broke my line on the hook set. But around the rocks and the red clay and all the stuff that's under the water there, you really never know. But I mean, I was checking my line throughout the day, making sure I didn't have no nicks, but I might not have checked that exact time. So when I set the hook, and I've been doing a reel set all day, but I've had so many fish that just kind of pop off before the rod completely loads up on the reel set, before I could lay into them. So on that fish, I just gave it to him, and when I did, it just popped right off, broke my line. So I was only using 8-pound test with the Ned rig. So learned my lesson on that one. I don't really like setting a hook on a spinner reel with 8-pound test without, doing some reel set and just basically laying back into a fish, especially with a exposed hook and stuff like that. You really don't have to do all that, but I just, kept missing them bites in this tournament day, and I really felt like that was the bite that I needed, and I set the hook on her, and it just broke off. But anyway, the points kind of slowed down, so I started hitting transition banks on my way back to the boat ramp, kind of fishing my way back. I did catch probably about 12 to 15 fish throughout the day. I had about 12 keepers, but I only culled 2 times because the fish I already had were better than the keepers that I ended up boating throughout the rest of the day. And every fish I caught on the transition bank, none of them culled for me. So at the end of the day, come back in, went to weigh in, ended up 5th place out of 46 members, anglers that we have for Georgia Kayak Fishing League. And we have a lot of good fishermen as well. And first place was David Hampton. He had 90.75 inches. But from 2nd to 5th, which my buddy was 2nd place, Jacob Chandler, and he actually ended up getting me into kayak fishing back in 2018 for my first tournament out in Charles Elliott. So it was really cool to see him do really well at this tournament. We both put in the same area. We kind of fished around each other all day. We definitely gave each other space, and we both did pretty good. So congratulations to him on his 2nd place finish. We both got a little check out of it, or actually he got a pretty darn decent check out of it. I think $400 and something. So anyway, congrats to him, and congrats to Dan on catching that big fish, for getting big fish, and congrats to David Hampton on his 1st place finish again at Lake Lanier. So I've been calling him Mr. Lake Lanier lately. But anyway, guys, get out there, and I expect more and more fish be pulling up to the shallows right now. On tournament day, points were the key for me: red clay and rock. They didn't have to really be big rocks, preferably chunk rock with a little scattered bigger rocks here and there. Really, wood wasn't much of a factor. Did pull a few small ones off some laydowns and things like that, but rock, hard clay, hard bottoms is your ticket. And I expect the water temperature to be rising. I expect the fish to be coming shallower as the day progresses. As each day progresses, there's going to be more and more coming. So guys, get out there on Lanier. Get out there and fish North Georgia. This is the guide. I'm Charles Shelnutt. That's more nuts than shells. Come see us at our next tournament. Georgia Kayak Fishing League's hitting Chattooga. Not quite sure the date right this second, but you can look us up on Georgia Kayak Fishing League on Facebook, and go to the Georgia Kayak Fishing League member page. And everything you need to know is on our page. So our schedule and everything should be right there on top. Should be the first announcement you see. If you don't see it, just click on announcements. Our file tab holds all our rules, our waivers, our membership, and everything that you need to get started. So guys, come see us. Thanks. It's the guide at Fish North Georgia. Have a good one.
Thanks for watching the guide here at Fish North Georgia. Our mission is to build a community of anglers to give you the best and latest information to make your day on the water more successful. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click the bell so you'll be notified of any future content. Make sure you check us out at fishnorthgeorgia.com, where we carry a large variety of bait manufacturers from here in the North Georgia area. So we appreciate you being part of our community, and we'll see you soon.